On the top of Lamed Chesam and Aleph. It's the third line. Yehuda v'Chizkiya b'nei Reb Chia, the sons of Reb Chia, Yehuda and Chizkiya, have a Yasvi b'Sudasa kamei Rebbe. They were sitting in front of Rebbe, the two brothers. They weren't saying anything. They were sitting quiet. I'm going to give them some wine and loosen their tongues. I'll give to the young men some wine, and that will get them going. The Rebbe doesn't like it either when everyone's sitting quiet. Everyone likes to hear that some feedback. Even the Ivsim, since he got them shikar, they started to say, Ein ben David ba yichlu shnei batei avos miYisrael. Mashiach is not going to come until the two batei avos, the two heads of the household of the Yidden. That means until the Reish Goyla, the Reish Galusa in Babel, and the Nasi in Eretz Yisrael. Shenema, where do you see this? And it will be and it will be to the Yidden as a mikdash, based on mikdash, even naga for l'tzur michshel, as a stone that they will trip over, l'tzur michshel, as a rock that they stumble. L'shnei bata Yisrael, for the two houses of Yidden. So these two young brothers who got drunk, they said that, you see from this pasuk, that Mashiach is not going to come until the two Bata Yisrael are taken out of their position, which is the Reish Galusa and the Nasi. Amalahem b'ni chaytzamata matilim b'neinai. Rebbe said back to them, "What are you saying this for? I'm the Nasi. This doesn't make me feel very good." Amalei Reb Chia, who was the father of these two boys, Rebbe, al Yorveinecha, don't feel bad about it. Yayin nitin b'shiva oisius. Wine was given with 70 oisius, right? Yayin Yud and Nun is 70. Gematria is 70. V'soid nitin b'shiva oisius, and the gematria of soid is 70. Nichnas yayin yatsa soid. This is good to after already within a month of Adar, so we're Kamat Adar already. It's almost Purim. Amar Chizda Amar Mar Ukva. Amar Amar Chizda. Dorish. Mari Bar Mar. Mai Dechsiv. Vayishkat Hashem al Hara. The Rebbeinu Shalom brought closer the raw, the bad. And he brought it on us. Ki tzadik Hashem alekenu. Because Hashem is a tzadik. That doesn't follow, because what is the tzidkus of bringing a raw, bring something bad on us quicker? In. So yes. Staka HaSakadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. Was it staka? Shehiktim galus tzidkiyo v'oid galus yechanya kayemes. That the Rebbeinu Shalom made galus tzidkiyo, when you brought a bunch of Yidden, a bunch of refugees from Eretz Yisrael to Babel, he did so before the galus of Yechanya had finished. That means when Yechanya had come down, when he went to Babel, he brought a bunch of people with him, and that was still going on when Tzidkiya came. Dechsiv be'galus Yechanya, says by galus Yechanya, Acheresh v'hamiskar, the taich of Cheresh and Miskar is a Cheresh is a craftsman, and a Miskar is like a doorman. Elef. There was 1,000. But we teach Cheresh kivich a paischan hakol nasu kachereshin. But we teach it to mean, we darshan Cheresh to mean a Talmud Chacham, that it's somebody, when they start talking, everyone else becomes quiet. So that's the word Charashim. And Miskar kivich shesogen b'halacha shubim paischan. When they say the final decision, nobody can reopen. So the Kamahayu Elef, so there's 1,000. So that's what it means, that Yechanya had 1,000 of these Talmidei Chachamim, of high-level Talmidei Chachamim. So it was at Staka that the Rebbeinu Shalom brought Tzidkiyo to Bavel at the same time that its Talmidei Chachamim of Yechanya was still there, to be able to learn. They had the opportunity to remain makusher with Torah. That was a chesed. Ula Amar, he says a different pshat, higdem shtei shanim. The pasuk says, "Kisoyle banim uvnei banim v'neishantem ba'aretz," and they'll remain in the land. V'yishchatem v'asisem pesach tulekol v'asisem harabein Hashem alekecha la'achisa. This is a pasuk in Dvarim. So and the Torah says that you're going to you're going to go to Eretz Yisrael, and then eventually this is a nevuah that they're going to get waylaid, that they're going to be over Averis, and it's going to be necessary for them to go into Golus. So I think the gematria of Neishantem is Amar Avacha by Yaakov Shmamina Mehera Demari Alma Tamni Mei V'Chamshin V'Tartan Havi. That the Rebbeinu Shalom, it was supposed to be 852, and it was 2 years less than V'nei Shantem. Maybe it was supposed to be 254, it was 252. Was it supposed to be 852, and it became 850. That was the Mehera, the Rebbeinu Shalom made it a bit earlier. Lefikach. Tanur Rabban. Adam Yechidi Nivra. Right? We said in the Mishnah that Adam was created as a single man. The Rebbeinu Shalom didn't create multiple men by the Bria Asylum. And why was it like this? This was said in the Mishnah also, that if the Rebbeinu Shalom had made different men, then people would say that this one kaviyachol, that one God created one man and a different God created a different man. So the fact that they all created one man, that means there was only one Baira. It was both for the benefit of tzaddikim and for Rishayim. Shaliyu tzaddikim oimrim anu b'nei tzaddik, Rishayim oimrim anu b'nei rasha. People, the Gemara is saying that if people were created from different men, they all had different originators, they would look back and say, I'm a tzaddik because my great-great-grandfather was a tzaddik. I'm from the Hasidim, and the Hasidim, we can't do anything wrong. And the Litvaks will say, I don't do anything wrong. And the Sfadim will say. So it's not good for people to attribute their moral successes and failures, their successes and failures in Yiddishkeit, based on who they come from. It doesn't have to do with it. Every person has bechira. So therefore, the Rebbeinu Shalom made everyone come from one person. So they'll try to minimize, even though it still exists, to minimize this tendency of people to put both their failings and their accomplishments, say that it just comes from my background. To minimize machlokes. If even now that people don't come from different people, like you can't say I'm from a different originator. People still fight amongst themselves based on who their mishpacha is. If they could point to real differences, they would fight even more. It's for the people who steal and take. If people will steal, they'll say, like Rashi says, if people knew that they came from different places, they'd say, this karka really is mine, it came from my grandfather, and you have no right to be on it. So if people fight about that, and they steal, and they defraud, even though they all come from one person, certainly it would be worse if they came from different origins. So we said in the Mishnah that the Rebbeinu created every person different, from one stamp from Adam Arishan, but they all are different. Tanur Rabban, telling you the gedula of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Sha'adam tevei kam matbeis b'choisem echad, v'kulan daim zelazeh. A person makes many coins from the same mold, and they all look the same. This is what's said in the Mishnah, that every person is unique. But when Mashiach's going to come, when a person dies, he gets turned over like clay, choisim, and he's stamped. He's yatzmu k'moy lavush. But lasted lava, he's going to stand up like clothing. Like the clothing doesn't get destroyed, even though a person, when he dies, reverts back to the clay that he was originally made out of. But lasted lava, he's going to be like the lavush that stays. Why is it that people have different faces? Why do they look different? If everyone looked the same, everyone could claim when they see a nice house or a fine woman that they'll say that it's good for me. I use the lashon fine woman because they ask if everyone looked the same, then all women would look the same. So what does it mean isha na? So they say they should have a good, more pleasing midas, be more smart or whatever, something about it that's better. Shenema v'yimna mirishayim oyram. He takes from Rishayim the oyram, the shine from their faces, b'zareya rama tishbar, and he breaks their high-handedness. So by making people different, he takes away the ability from Rishayim to make believe something is theirs that's not. Tanya, the 3 ways that one person is different from the next: B'koil, from his voice; B'mara, in his appearance; B'das, and his mind. B'koil b'mara mishum erva. He has to be looked. His voice and his mara is different. By day, his wife should recognize him, and at night that she should recognize his voice. B'das, in order that people. So this is interesting. The Rashi says, what does that mean? B'das mnei hagazlanim, right opposite this. Im yedei ma b'lev chaveroi yitfash mitzvaynav v'yadeh hechamayne. If everyone had the same das, it'd be very easy to defraud your friend because everyone's mind works the same. So Rashi says you'll go into his house, and you'll say, "Where would I hide things?" And then you'll know that's where he hides his things, and you could steal it. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I guess you could say like these days you could update it. You could figure out someone's password, right? You go to his computer, to his bank account, and you ATM. You figure out what his password is. Tanaraban. Adam niver be'erev Shabbos. As we know, Adam was never on the 6th day, erev Shabbos. Why is this? Show you haminim oimrim, that in order that the upper person won't say, if the man was created earlier on the 1st day, they would say, oh, the man was working together, was partnered with the Rebbeinu Shalom in creating the world. So the man was created last, so there's no opportunity to say that. Another reason, if he becomes a balgaiva, say that even a bug was created more earlier than you. Don't be such a balgaiva. In order that should immediately after he's created have Shabbos. Right away after he's created, he had a mitzvah to undertake. In order that he should immediately have the whole Maisa Bereshis, the whole world, to be nene from, right? If you remember in Bereshis, it says that the Rebbeinu Shalom made the water so that it should rain, so that everything should be prepared for Adam Arishan. Mashal Melech Basav Adam Shabana Paltrulin. It's the mashal to a king that built a palace, B'shichlelon, and he set it up, Behiskin Suda, and he prepared a Suda, and afterwards he brought the guests. But you don't first invite the guests and then stop preparing everything. Shnemar, Chachmas Bonsa Beisai, with Chachma she built the house. Chatzva Amudea Shiva, she set the 7 foundations. Tavcha Tivcha, she made shechted the animals. Mascha Yena, poured the wine. Af Archa Shachana, she even set the table. So he says, Shalcha Nurusea, she sent out her woman, Tikra al Gape Meroi Mekaris, and they called out from the tops of the highest city houses in the city. So we touched the pasuk. Chachma ban sabesa. The first part of the pasuk is Zumi data shel Hakadosh Baruch Hu. This is the midah of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shabaritz kolayim kulay bechachma. He made the entire world using wisdom. Chatzva mudei shiva created the foundations, the 7 foundations. Eilu shiva yimei bereshis. This is the shiva yimei bereshis. Tavcha tivcha, mascha yena, avarcha shulchana. he shechted the animals, and he poured the wine, and he set the table. Eli yam and haris b'chol tzorchei olam. The Baruch Shalom made the rivers and the oceans and everything that the world needs. Shalchan hariseh v'tikra ze Adam and Chava. He called to Adam and Chava that they should come and partake of what had been prepared. So this is the raya. This is dashing the pasuk to say what we were saying. Al gabe meroy mekaris, on top of the heights of the city. Avachana Rami, Chava Tikra ze Adam Chava al gabe meroy mekaris. Fact the Gemara, Rabba Bachana Rami, Ksiv al gabe, uksiv. It says on the heights, uksiv al kisei. It says on the seat. So it's a stira. It's either on the heights or it's on a seat. So but chila al gapi. In the beginning, it was on top. Usaif al kisei. That the Adam Rishon at the beginning was all the way high up, but after he was did an oven, he went down. He was firmly rooted on the ground. Mi pesi yaser. Who is the pesi? Who is the fool that turns away? He nechasa leiv amrloi. He's a chasa leiv. I said to him, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, mi pisai lezeh isha. He dashed it to mean who caused mi pasil lezeh. Who caused this man? Who caused Adam to do an avera? Isha, Chava, amrloi. She's the one who said it to him. She's the one who caused him to do avera. Dechsiv noyef isha chasa leiv. The end of the pasuk used the lashon mi pesi yaser, who turned away the isha. And the Isha is considered a chasalev. It says she's she has a flawed heart. Noyaf Isha, a woman who betrays, chasalev. She has a chasalev. Tanya, Hayir Meir Aima. Adam Harishon, Mikol Ha'olam Kuloi Chutzper Afrei. The offer that was used to create Adam Harishon was taken from offer from all across the world. We're right at the bottom of Lamed Ches Amud Aleph. About a second to last line. Shneimar, Golmi ro einecha, and I saw Golmi is the goylem, the form, an unformed person that was taken from the Afar, and Uksiv ki Hashem einav mishaitis b'chol haaretz, and the Rebbeinu Shalom's eyes were cast over the entire world. So when he made this goylem that was used to create Adam Harishon, it came from what he was seeing on the entire world. Ro einecha, but from what he saw. Amar Avoshi Mishmei Derav. Adam Harishon. Gufay mi Bavel. His guf comes from Bavel. Baroishay me Eretz Yisrael, and his head is from Eretz Yisrael. That means the most lowly part came from the lowly land. Bavel is a very low-lying ground, and the Eretz Yisrael is Lamayla Mikol Haratzos. It's Gavaya, so that's from the heights. Beivar of Mishar Haratzos, and his limbs come from other lands. Agvoisav, and his rear, which is the lowest part of a person. Amaracha me'akra da'agma. That's from the lowest part of Bavel. Amar Rav Yochanan bar Chanina. Shtayim esrei shoyes havi hayom. There are 12 hours in a day, and so we're referring to the first day, the day that Adam was created. So we're going to go through every hour what happened. Shari shayna hutzvar afra. In the first hour, the Rebbeinu Shalom gathered the offer to create Adam. Shniya nasa goyel. In the second hour, he made it into an unformed blob of clay. Shlishim nimtuchu evar. In the third hour, he formed the limbs. The revius nizraka by neshama. In the fourth hour, he got his neshama. Chamishas amar al raglav. In the fifth hour, he stood up. Shishas kara shemus. In the sixth hour, he called names to all of the chayes. Shvius nivdavga loishchava. In the seventh hour, he was nizdavig l'chava. Shminis alu lamita. Shnayim v'yardu abba. In the eighth hour, he was ba and chava, and they went in two into the bed, meaning Adam and Chava v'yardu abba. They had Cain and Hevel. Shias nisava shaloi lecha min ha'ilan. In the ninth hour, they were commanded not to eat from the Eitz Hadas. And what happened? Of course, Atziris, Sarach. In this eighth hour, in the 10th hour, he fell. He ate from the Eitz Hadas. Achas Esrei. In the 11th hour, Nidan. That's when he got his judgment. He's going to have to leave the Gan Eden. Shtayim Esrei Nitrid v'halachlai. And in the 12th hour, he left the Gan. Shenema Adam Bikar Bal Yolin. The Adam one, I think, Beaker, I think it means created, or he did what he did. Bal Yolin, and he couldn't stay over. He wasn't able to stay over even one day in Gan Eden. He had to leave before the end of the day. Amar Rami Bar Chama, Ein Chayira Sheletes Ba'Adam. A Chayira cannot rule over a person. Elim Ke Nidma Like a Behema, unless he appears to him like a Behema. Shenema Nimshal Ka Behemas Nidmu. They appear like Behemoths. But the way the Rebbeinu created the world was that the Adam was supposed to be Moshel on the behemoths. But when he acts, I guess what it means is if he appears like a behemoth, which I assume comes from the fact that he acts in some way like a behemoth, that's what makes him vulnerable to a chaya. Amar Yudah Marav, B'shasha B'Kedish Baruch Hu Livres Adam, and the Rebbeinu wanted to create the person. Bara Kat Acha Shel Malachei Asharis. He created a group of malachim, amalahem, b'tzonchem nasa adam b'tzalmenu. Said, I want to make an Adam that will be in my form. Amal lefanav. So the malachim said to him, Rebbeinu Shalom, ma ma'asav. What is he going to do? Amal and kach v'kach ma'asav. This is what's going to go. He showed them, this 6,000, 7,000 years of what we've been up to. Why are you doing this? What is this enish? It doesn't seem to be worth it. The Rebbeinu Shalom responded to Malachim for saying this, and he destroyed them. As we saw, as you all remember, I'm sure from Bereshis, the Rebbeinu Shalom was asking the Malachim to teach us that you're supposed to not be a Balgaiva. He certainly didn't need their opinion. So he said, if the whole reason I created you was to basically rubber stamp what I'm saying, and you're not doing that, you have no reason to exist. Malachim only have one reason, and if they weren't fulfilling that tafkid, he destroyed them. It wasn't my point is, I don't think it was a punishment. It was just you have no purpose. Same thing happened with the second group and the third group. He created another. I'm sorry, he made another two groups. They said, they gave the right answer. They said, what did it help for them to say that you shouldn't create the world? You can do whatever you want. So you should go ahead and do it. Meaning that was the right answer. But then as history started, and the Malachim were looking from on high, and they saw that Anshe Dara Mago did Averis, and Anshe Dara Flaga, Shemasam Lekul Kalin, they did a lot of Averis. Was it not right what the original ones had said? Ma enish kisiskarenu, amal en, ba'ad zikna ani hu, ba'ad sheva ani espa. Until I become old, I'm still the Rebbeinu, whatever his age is. It doesn't make a difference. I'm still the same. Even when I'm old, I'm still can tolerate. Meaning the Rebbeinu said the same way I said that don't bother me about advocating to destroy Adam, to destroy people. I can still handle their Averis. I still want, it's still Kedai for me. Amrav Yudam Arav. Adam Rishon Misayfa Elam Vat Sayfa Haya. Adam Rishon was created. He was the size from one end of the world to the other. From one end to the other end. Since he did Averis, the Hashem put his hand on the Adam and he reduced him. I made you front and back, and I placed my hand upon you. That means the Hashem put his hand on him to reduce him in size. He says rather than from one end of the earth to the other, he says from the land, from the surface of the earth until the Shemayim. The same thing, he just says a different measure. He says from up to down rather than from side to side. How could you say it means what at the beginning? How could you say that it means that he made the man from one side to the other, and then it says, Miksei Hashamayim ad Haaretz. How could you say that means from one end of the earth to the other? Zok the Gemara. I lost my place. Kashya Karadadi. They're both the same. It's true that we refer to it in different ways, but it's the same measurement. From the Aretz to Shemayim is the same measurement as from Ksei Aretz to Ad Ksei Aretz, from one end of the earth to the other. Adam Harishon b'Lashon Arami Siper. Adam Harishon spoke in Lashon Arami. Shenemar Bali Mayikru Rayayich Kel. And the person says, Adam says about himself, "My yikru ra'ayich, how wonderful are your thoughts." Ra'ayich is a lashon arami for thoughts, for your machshavas, kale. So we see that we Adam Harishon was talking and he was using a lashon arami. Behind the Amar Reish Lakish Maidich Sev Zeh Sefer told us Adam. This is the sefer, the story of Adam. Lamed Sherei Hakadosh Baruch Hu Dor Dor v'Darshav. Dor Dor v'Chachmav. He showed him who are the great ones of each Dor. Kiva Shigil Darshav Rabbi Akiva. When he came to the Dor of Rabbi Akiva, Sameach b'Teirasai, v'Nisasa b'Misasai. Adam was happy with the Torah of Rabbi Akiva, but he was sad about his Misa. Ama Beli Mayikorei Ayich Kel. He said to me, "How wonderful are your rayayich? This is your thoughts. I'm going to submit myself to your thoughts the way you want to do it." V'amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rav, Adam Rishon min haya. Adam Rishon was an apikoros. It's a fantastic statement. Shenema v'yikra Hashem elikim ala Adam v'yoyim ala ayin not alibecha. We say ayeka. Which way is your heart going? Fantastic thing, right? The Adam Rishon was literally created, and he talked to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and he somehow his heart turned away from Hashem. He covered over he covered over his bris with his arla. They're like an Adam that is over on his bris. He violated his bris. I reneged on my bris, so he was covering over his makam bris, als his kfira. Nachman Amar kaifer be'eka haya. He was kaifer be'eka. Ksiv hacha avru bris, ksiv hasam es brisi hafa. Va'amru al asher azu es bris Hashem alikei avoisa. So someone azu es bris we see is a lashon of being oiziv that people who are avodah zarah. In some form, Adam Harishon was like Rashi says, min haya noitel avodas kechavim. In some way, Adam Harishon was susceptible to thinking in a way of minus, of apikorsis. It's kaifer in the Rebbeinu Shalom. And you obviously have to understand it in a very metaphorical way. I mean, the other Rishon knew the Rebbeinu Shalom. He spoke to the Rebbeinu Shalom. It means he must have had some misunderstanding. He thought there was some limitations to the Rebbeinu Shalom, in spite of his being aware generally of what the Rebbeinu Shalom was. Tanan Hasam. Have you shocked Lilma Torah? You should be diligent about learning Torah. By learning Torah, you'll know what to answer in Apikaris. Am Rabbi Yochanan, Loishna el Apikaris of the Chachavim. Apikaris Yisrael, Koshkan de Pocket Bay. If you try arguing with Apikaris Yisrael and explaining to him the Torah, you're just going to cause him to be more of a Apikaris. There's no point in arguing with him. But for a guy who doesn't know the Torah, you should know it in order to be able to answer. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Kol makom she pakru haminim shuvasam b'tzidim. Everything that provides a source for the minim, there's an answer right next to it. So we're going to bring a bunch of psukim that show there's a lashon rabim in referring to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and that's what causes them to become minim. And next to it, it's used by lashon yachid to answer. So we say nase adam b'tzalmeinu. Tzalmeinu is a lashon rabim. It sounds like there's more than one bayra. It says b'tzalmei lashon yachid. Hava nerda v'novla sham svasam. They said the Lashon Rabbim, let's go down and we boil the languages by Dara Flaga. But Yer Hashem Lira says Sa'ir. It says right afterwards that Hashem alone, Lashon Yachid. As Sa'ir v'Samigdal. Kisham Nigu Elav El Elokim. That's where the Marsha, the Elokim, Lashon Rabbim. L'keila I know I see b'yam terasi. But then it says Lashon Yachid. The Rabbi Shalom who answers me in my time of need. Kimi goy gadol asher loy Elokim kroivim elav. Kroivim is a Lashon Rabbim. Kashem Elokeinu b'chol koreinu elav. Umika amcha Yisrael goyachad ba'aretz asher hochu Elokim liftos loy la'am. So then we have the second pasuk. Goyachad ba'aretz asher hochu Elokim Lashon. I skipped one.
Yeah, Kimi goy gadol asher loy Elokim kroivim elav, which is plural, right? And then
Kashem Elokeinu b'chol koreinu elav is one. Mika amcha Yisrael goyachad ba'aretz asher hochu Elokim liftos loy la'am. No, I think I shall.
Right, no, that's another example.
The next part is the answer.
No, the first question we had Kroivim Elav, and then
there's two answers to that.
Kashem Elokeinu b'chol koreinu elav. Then we have another pasuk. Then the next example is Mikam ki Yisrael goyachad ba'aretz asher holchu Elokim, again plural.
Yeah.
And then the answer is liftos loy la'am, which is singular.
Liftos loy, so the loy is a singular. Okay. Ad de karsavun Rama v'atik yamin. What is that? Ad de karsavun. I think that means his throne. Rama v'atik, yeah. Rama v'atik yamin. So it's karsavun is a lashon rabbim of two thrones. This is a very bad one because this mamish is not just using a lashon rabbim. We're talking about the Moshe. We're saying there's two thrones. So that means there's two beings, two entities. Rama v'atik yamin. He's a long-standing, very old. Yosef, he sits. Hanach lamali. What do you need them for? Rav Yochanan. Rav Yochanan, Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Oised Davar, Nimach b'Pamalya Shamayla. He needs to have a Pamalya, so that's what he creates. Why there are other people in Shemayim. Shenema b'Gzeres.
Pamalya?
His retinue. Those who he has a entourage that goes with him. So whenever he does something, he consults with them, even though he's going to, like we saw before, he's going to do it anyway. That's the proper way to act. Shenema b'Gzeres iram piskama b'Maimer kedishin she'elta. He goes and he asks. He gets a piskam from those of the Maimer kedishin on the word of the kedishin. He asks. This makes sense on all the things that we said we used the Lashon Rabbim. But Ade Karsav and Rama of Ma'yikal. What about the two thrones? So David. One is for him and one is for David HaMelech. Tanya Echad Loy v'Echad David Divrei Rabbi Kiva. That's what Rabbi Kiva says. Amalei Rabbi Yosi Akiva. Amasei Ata Oisa Shechina Choel. Why are you making something that you're saying that David sits on a kisei in Shemayim? David is a human being. He doesn't belong on a kisei. One is for din, where Menachem sits on one when he does din, and one when he's merachim. Did Rabbi Kiva accept his answer? Tashma Tanya echad ladin ve'echad l'tzedakah divrei Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva accepted it. Amalei Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Kiva malcha etzel haggadah. So even after Rabbi Kiva accepted this, they said to him, "Why are you saying drasha? That's not your forte. Stick to the Goyim Vayhalas. That's what you should do. You're not a dark Ella, because that's not the right answer. One is a seat for the Baruch Shalom, and one is a place to put his legs. The kisei to sit on the shafar is for his feet. Okay, we're going to stop over here.
All right, thank you. Have a great Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos.
No.